excited I am to be here. Is that really loud? Yeah. Okay, let me bring that down a little bit. All right, I'll just keep talking. You'll fix it up there. Great. So, yeah, what an honor to be here giving actually what is my very first ever keynote speech, which I decided to call So thank you for laughing. You never know how this is going to go. And if you laughed at that, which some of you did, my guess is you probably heard I should have said no. And maybe that will be true, we'll find out. But for now, this simply says I could have said no. And in fact, I should have said no is a complete sentence on its own, right? Yes. But I could have said no. It's not it's incomplete, it's not complete, it's going somewhere, and so am I. We got some dots up there. Finish the sentence. I could have said no. Then what? I could have said no, but I... Yes, exactly. I could have said, yeah, I heard you. I could have said, I did say, I could have said no, but I said yes. Right, there it is. So thank you. So today's discussion is going to be about possibility. Faced with I could have said no, we're going to look at what happens when you choose to say yes. And I want to start this with a story that I know some of you already know. Many of you here went to Germany in March as a part of PDX Voices. Put up your hand if you were there. Sitting over here. You guys were there, so you know the story too. But for the rest of you, what happened was PDX Voices went to Germany to compete in the big competition, and they joined forces with heavy metal chorus. And at the beginning of the time together, there was a sort of icebreaker, get to know each other talent show, right? Yes. And the only rule, as I was told, about this icebreaker was there was no singing. Yep. Also true? Good fact checking. So what happened was apparently there was not a lot of people who were, volunteering to do this. So they asked a young man named Daniel Caesar if he had. They knew he liked to write poems, so they said, "Daniel, will you read one of your poems?" And Daniel could have said no, but he didn't. He said yes. So I want to show you the poem. There he is. There's Daniel. Yeah, we love Daniel. So Daniel, here's his poem. Okay, so I could have said no by Daniel Caesar. He says, back when my high school teacher said, Daniel, we need more bass in the chorus, and bad, I could have said no. When I went to uni, just trying to get through, and someone asked me to join their a cappella group, got it. Then he was next, and when one of those guys suggested we sing a so-called barbershop song, I could have said no. Now, 5 years later, I am where I belong, with my friends, my family, and everyone I like best. And every day I am glad I said yes. So I wanted to know more, so I called him up. And I said, Daniel, tell me the story. I've heard about this poem of yours, and he is a very impressive young man. He's only 26. He's already spent 3 years on the Bing board. So at 23, somebody said, hey, do you want to join our board? And he goes, okay. And he directs a couple choruses, and he just does all kinds of magical stuff. And he told me, he said, you know what, Phil, each time they ask me, it's really scary, but every time I say yes, really cool things happen to me and happen to my life. And he ends up doing cool things with his friends and his family and the people he loves best. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. And he gets it. He's really impressive. And it got me thinking about, the impact that when we say yes to ourselves, to our own challenges, to the things that scare us, really cool things can happen. So it took me to my own wedding day. The first time I ever sang barbershop, and I know some of you know this story, but the first time I ever sang barbershop was actually on my wedding day. Kind of scary. So a couple hours before the ceremony, my brothers-in-law and my fathers-in-law came to me and they said, we're singing at the reception. I almost said afterglow, same thing. We're going to sing at the reception. And so they gave me a piece of music. Now, I've never sung barbershop yet. And, but I could have said no, but I couldn't have said no. So I said, sure, what is it? And it was Ebb Tide, if you know the song. And there it is. So I've got a video of the first time I ever sang Barbershop with me and my brothers-in-law. And if you're sitting in the back and you can't see, there you go. I'm pretty terrified. But I got to tell you, I'm really glad that I said yes, because Barbershop has changed my life. By saying yes on that day, so many good things happened. And as an aside, I was practicing my speech here with Danya a couple of days ago, and she said, hey, just a question. Did anything else change your life on that day? It did. And by the way, saying I do is also a version of saying yes. And then she said, well, I could have said no. All right, so here it is. So this weekend, you're going to have lots of opportunity to say no. Your teachers, if they do it right, they're going to challenge you to step outside your own comfort zone. And maybe your coaches are going to ask you to do things that are uncomfortable. And when that happens, I want you to be daring. I want you to say yes to yourself and see what happens. Because if you believe in what Daniel has to say, good things will happen. You don't know where it's going to go, but it's going to be pretty exciting. Can you do that? Yes! Good, all right. Let's move on to the next thing. The next thing that I want to talk about is what happens when we say yes to others. Step one, what happens when we say yes to ourselves? What about when we say yes to others? I'll tell you the truth. When I was growing up, this is true, nobody told me I was smart. Maybe some of you can relate to that. And because nobody told me that, I didn't know. Maybe I'm not, I guess. But I didn't know. And so because of that, I never tried. I never made the honor roll in high school. I never had good grades. I got report cards that said, distracts others. I know, hard to believe. And then I got into university because I did a music degree, and so they don't care how smart or dumb you are. They care that you can sing, so I got in. And then what happened was, I chugged along for the first couple of years, just doing school, but I never paid attention to my grades, just like high school, because I didn't care, because that was for smart people, and I was going to do the music thing, no problem. And then one day, this guy came walking down the hall. This is Dr. Richard Kurth, who is the dean of the music school I went to. Now there's probably, 1,000 music students in our program, and he's the dean, and he's got a lot on his plate. But then one day, so let's say I'm in about, this is January of my third year, okay? And he comes down the hallway, and he finds me, and he says, Phil, I was looking at your grades, which I had never done. And he said, if you try just a little bit, and I'm like, stop it right there, buddy. Like, I know how this is going to play out. You're talking to the wrong person. He goes, if you try just a little bit, you might get a scholarship. And if you know me, I like making two things, music and money. So I thought, what have I got to lose? So I leaned in, and I got that scholarship. And this isn't a story about the scholarship. This is a story about Dr. Kurth, who, sitting in his office, being the dean of a big music school, looking at this thing, says, I should help that kid, because I think he can do it. And he made a choice. Don't you think he could have been like, I'm busy. I should, but I'm not gonna. But he didn't. He made a different choice. He said yes to helping others. And he found me, and he changed my life. For real. Otherwise, I would have chugged along not knowing anything about what I'm capable of. The possibility. He made me believe in myself, and then I found out, I can do it. So I owe him. I owe him big time. And we all have that within us to help others and build them up. So I'll always thank him for that. So to help you sort of think about how to do that, I want to give you one of those, there's two types of people in the world, frameworks. There are people who are diminishers, and there are people who are illuminators. Now the diminishers, you know these people. These are the people who make you feel smaller. They make you feel unseen, unheard, like you don't matter. Now that's obvious. But they also make you, sometimes when you're with these people, you leave them feeling like, that's a really cool person. Man, they're smart. Man, they can really sing. If that's how they made you feel, or that's how you're thinking, feeling, they've lost the opportunity to illuminate you, to build you up. That's a possibility. What happens if instead of making you feel like they're special, you ended up that interaction with that person feeling like you're special, that you could do it. So I'm going to challenge you to illuminate other people this weekend in barbershop, to when you have the chance to ask or to look for how can I invite to or build up or welcome in somebody else, whatever it looks like, so that they feel like they can, not that you're great. See the difference? Okay, cool. So can you do that?
Yes.
All right. I know you can. I know you can. All right. Let's move on to the last area, which is what happens when we say yes to the community, to the greater good. All right, level 1, to ourselves. Level 2, to others. Level 3, to the greater good. Okay, and the short answer is when we work towards or give to the community, we get great reward. We get to create impact, and we get to create meaning for our own lives. Simple. But it doesn't come free. What you have to do is, well, I always say to my students, the term is actually give and take. It's not take and give. So give and take for a reason. All right? You have to give, and then you get all of the things, the impact, the meaning, the stuff I was just talking about. But even better, if you give freely, without expectation of getting anything back, even bigger things come back at you. You don't always know what they're going to be, and it's not from everything you do, but the real thing to do is to not give and expect to take, but just to give. So be giving. That is the thing to do. Can you do that? Yes. Okay. Yesterday, I was in a meeting with our CEO, Robert Run. We were talking about what does it mean in barbershop to be successful at an organizational level. And you might think it's more people singing. It might be. But we were talking about, well, maybe it's also more engagement. To have people be more engaged, barbershoppers, more engaged with our community. Well, what does that look like? And then I said, you know what, would you mind, do you want to say something for this speech tonight that I'm going to give? And he said, sure. So I want to read it to you. This is from the CEO. Oh, I forgot about Marty. I have Marty's story. I'll come back to that. No, I'm not. I'm going to tell you my quick Marty story, because I love me some Marty Lovick. Marty Lovick was an illuminator for me. Marty Lovick said to me, hey, Phil, this is 2019, when are you going to be a judge? What? Me? Me? Yeah. He could see in me something I couldn't see in myself. That's what it means to illuminate other people. If you know Marty, you've never walked away from Marty going, what an incredible person. Not that he isn't. You walk away from Marty feeling like, I'm an incredible person. I can be, I can do, that's Marty at work. He is a great illuminator, right? Yeah. Yep, you know it. Okay. Sorry, Marty, I didn't mean to put this out of order if you watch this later. Okay, so let's get back to our CEO. So this is what he said to me. Actually, he wrote this and sent it to me last night. Ever since I joined the BHS as a young boy, I have experienced our organization as one with a giving culture. The spirit of generosity has always been one of the things that make me most proud to be a member. My hope for the future is that we are more fully recognize and embrace this philanthropic identity as part of who we are. By owning our giving nature, we can amplify our impact, strengthen our communities, and create even more harmony in a world that deeply needs it. This is power of community. Right? You with me? Cool. So, I want to give you a framework for that one. Some of you may know the 5 T's of philanthropy framework. So the first one is, yeah, we can. Everybody knows this one. You can give your treasure, your money. Cool. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not here to do that. But that's one of them. The other one is you can give your time. This is volunteerism. The BHS has about 20 full-time members that serves 14,000 members. So the organization, to a large extent, is member-operated. People who signed us in. People who run the whole place, the schedule, all that stuff. These are people who gave their time to this community. And we can all do that. I don't need to ask you that. Ties. If you know somebody or 2 people who need to know each other, you can introduce them. Relationship building. That is a form of philanthropy. And you can do that. Maybe it's 2 directors. Maybe it's people who... maybe it's the person who's shy and they're in the corner and they're by themselves and man, they want to be involved. And you have a choice. You can use one of those, you can turn one of those shoulds into do's. and you say, hey, you know what, why don't you come over here, I want to introduce you to some people and get them singing some tags. That's an opportunity. Okay, so there's ties, then we have testimony. Tell people how great barbershop is. Is it great? Yeah. Okay, if you believe in it, talk about it. And the last one is talent. You've got people, we're surrounded by people who are teaching all weekend. They're using their talents to help build up this community, right? So there's the 5 T's. I didn't tell you where I got the story about PDX Voices going over to Germany. And where I got the story was from James Williams, who's in PDX Voices. There's James and David. Yeah, right. And so as he was telling me, he saw the poem be read, James saw. And he said he was so moved, he was so inspired, that he went back to his dorm room, I guess, dorm rooms? Yeah. Yep. And it was dark, he had a roommate, so he was kind of at the table in the dark with the phone, and he wrote a tag based on the poem, because he was so inspired. Do you want to see it? Yeah. All right, I happen to have the video. There's James in the middle. There it is. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. So he was so inspired, he used his talent. And they got up, well, I didn't mention this part, but this is the next morning, they taught it at the general session just like this. And so I think that's beautiful. Do you want to, now that you've heard it, you want to sing it? Yeah. Okay, well, what I did was, I reached out to my friends. And I said, hey, you guys want to help me teach this tag? And they said, yes. Of course they did. All right, so come on up, guys. What's that? Alrighty, let's do this.
Alright, then we're going to start with the lead part. And feel free to see me. I could have said no. Oh, sure. Oh, okay. That's right. Yeah. I could have said no. I'm so glad I said yes. All right, just the leads on this one. I could have said no. I'm so glad I said yes. That's perfect.
I was doing the numbers for the bass, so here we go. Basses. Said no. I'm so glad I said. Here we go. Everyone together. Said no. All right, 3, 4, and I could have said no. I'm so glad I said yes. Beautiful. You guys sound so good.
Hey guys, I'm the baritone. I don't know the game signs, so I'll do the Jackson, when we start, he goes that I could have. And we go, said no. I'm so glad. My rhythm sounds like Crazy Frog. I said yes. Let's, everybody, Doug, you ready? Here we go. I could have said no.
possibility. I don't have a lot more to say. And how do you top that anyway? So let's just wrap this up. What we've talked about here is you have opportunity to go out there. I'll ask you to challenge yourself to be daring and see what happens when you say yes to yourself. And you also have opportunity to go out there and illuminate others. So go see how that goes and say yes to illuminating others. And then the last one is what happens when you give yourself to the community. We talked about be giving. With no expectation, no intake, be giving. See what happens. Can we do that? Yes! Yes? All right, okay. That's all I've got for you. Thank you very much. Because I really was working on not this. I don't want you to applaud for me. That is me diminishing you. I was really trying to write this so that you go out there and illuminate each other. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to turn to your neighbor and say something great to them. That's how we'll finish. Go ahead.